What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's happening to the overall market thus far, what's going on with the economic calendar, when Jerome Powell is about to start his testimony, and what's going on with some big earnings and news that just came out. Before I break into all this information, before I talk about what's happening with the charts thus far, let me just mention a couple of things. I am personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Mumu link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Mumu with the link down below and deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed up to 15 free stocks. And the offer ends very soon in just a couple of weeks. Anyways, looking at the market in my previous video from yesterday, I said I do anticipate the market's going to continue this push. And that's what's happening so far. I said that approaching Jerome Powell's speech, expect the market to kind of like pop a little bit, maybe drop right when he's about to start his testimony, and then we could see what happens after that. And that's exactly what's happening on SPY so far. Some tickers are kind of lackluster like now, right now, like Tesla. I'll talk more about that a little bit later. For the most part, we are seeing the market trying to balance right now, and we're starting to see more and more anticipation of Jerome Powell's speech. That's kind of positive. So when is Jerome Powell going to start his testimony? That's the most important thing. 10 o'clock a.m. in 30 minutes after the market basically opens. We also have the JOLTS job openings and job quits report coming out. Excuse me. So we'll see what that causes. But with Jerome Powell's testimony, he's basically going to be testifying in front of the U.S. House. And this is going to be very important for investors. Whatever he says could affect the whole markets. But Jerome Powell doesn't really have to be way too hawkish looking at current data. We want to see if he gives us any hints about what's going on with the current data, if there are any hints about what's happening with different changes to interest rates and things like that. So that's going to be very, very important. So we'll have to see how this ends up going. That's going to be very important. So we'll see what happens. And just know that this will cause some high volatility. So expect the volatility at 10 a.m. With Powell giving his testimony in front of the House, he'll give us more insights on what we should be expecting for future markets as well, and also any changes involving projections by the Fed and anything else that's like that. So we'll see what he's basically asked, what he ends up saying. So get ready for some high volatility there. Additionally, we also have at 2 p.m. the Fed Beige Book coming out. This is another report. I'll talk more about this a little bit later. This might cause some more volatility, but just wait and see how that goes. But for now, Jerome Powell is going to be the main star of the day. We'll listen to what he has to say in front of the House, and we'll have to see how it goes. For earnings, we just had JD.com announce its earnings, not to mention Foot Locker and EVgo. We have a few more retail ones coming out after the market closes, like Victoria's Secret and a couple of others like Honest. So I'll talk about those later on. For JD, they actually beat quarterly revenue, nice discounts, and very, very nice growth that has come for them. That's awesome, awesome, awesome news. And it's going to increase the size of its share repurchase program. Bullish, bullish news. They also had very, very good growth, beat on EPS and revenue, and strong, strong, strong earnings overall. Foot Locker shares have dropped 10% because we saw some losses due to the holidays. So EPS, they got a nice beat on that. Revenue was a beat, but right here in the current fiscal year, Foot Locker is expecting profit to become worse than analysts expected. It anticipates adjusted earnings per share will be between $1.50 and $1.70 compared to estimates of $1.40 and $2.30. So not the best, or on the lower end of the range that the analysts expected. So weak guidance, not the best of growth, and some worsening projections have caused this thing to drop more than 10%. That's bad news for them. But on the other hand, EVgo is doing very well. They beat earnings by 5 cents. Revenue is topped estimates, and guidance is looking pretty good. Earnings were pretty good, with guidance being between 220 270 million for their revenue of 2024. Analysts are expecting like 258 million. It's kind of in the middle, but still not bad whatsoever. It's still aligned with expectations. So pretty good revisions in terms of their EPS and such. Nice growth so far, so that's good news for them. And we'll see how it goes. For other pieces of news affecting the markets, stocks have fallen yesterday, but now we're trying to see signs of a rebound. Jerome Powell, like I said before, is going to be on Capitol Hill speaking in front of the House, giving his testimony. That's going to be once again today, starting at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. CrowdStrike grew 25%. That was yesterday because they had better than expected earnings and very, very strong guidance for the full year. I talked about this yesterday in my video. Now, we have some big news coming out involving OpenAI. They're responding to Elon Musk's lawsuit. So, apparently, they published old emails that showed Elon Musk encouraged the company to raise at least $1 billion in funding and agreed that it should start being less open over time and not share the company's science with the public. And they're in contrast of Musk's lawsuits. So the thing about this is that it's very easy to take something that may have happened 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and use it against someone. But you have to remember that people's views could change, things could change, and different motives, different incentives, things like that could all change as time goes on. So I don't know how well this is going to hold, but they could obviously use this in court. But I don't think this will hold as well towards like what Elon Musk is saying. I don't think it's going to change his view. Uh, Elon Musk could have had different views in the past, sure, but the question is, what about right now? Company fundamentals could change, and he's arguing that company fundamentals are different. So it is what it is. But with that being said, I mean, they do have an argument to be made, and we'll see what happens over time. Nordstrom, its shares slid down 10% in the pre-market because even though they had a little beat, they muted the outlook for the year ahead, and the full forecast range was only about a 2% decline to a 1% gain, worse than expected. So that's why Nordstrom has been dropping. So that's it for news thus far. I want to go over this as fast as possible. Let's talk about the charts. SPY popped as predicted. I told you we're going to likely see a continuation. I was expecting to get close to like 508.5, and I told you if this broke, watch 510. We did push. We might see this thing actually drop a little bit when Jerome Powell's about to start his speech. But then I just want to call out that when Jerome Powell starts speaking, we have this big gap on the daily around 512. So if we continue to hold above 510, we have potential to push all the way up to the 512 area and try to test the high again. So there could be a little drop and a big bounce coming. We also have a potential V-shaped recovery in inverse head and shoulders. There's a left shoulder here, a head, and a right shoulder. So this might kind of like pop a little bit, come down when Powell's about to start speaking. Then when Powell is giving a speech, we might see this thing push more. That's the most likely possibility. If it starts dropping, watch 508.5. If we lose 508, this will start to turn a little bearish as we have a gap to fill all the way down close to 507. But I do favor that's going to kind of like pop and drop a little bit, and it might start pushing higher things to Powell. There's a real possibility of that. The chart is looking like it wants to bounce. Additionally, on the QQQ, very similar setup. If we're bearish, you want to see it lose 438. If it loses that, we have a gap to fill all the way down to 436s. If we're bullish, you want to see it break past this imbalance at 440. If we break this, a bigger push could be coming all the way up towards this gap fill at 444. So this looks to me like we have an inverse head and shoulders that's going to try to make a V-shaped recovery. Might come down a little bit, then start pushing back up. Jerome Powell might be the catalyst to push us up higher. Now, I'm not going to promise that, but this is what the chart is suggesting. You guys understand what I'm saying? I'm saying the chart is suggesting we might push higher. Jerome Powell could cause anything, so watch your levels. If we lose 438, we're bearish. If we break past 440, we're bullish. My guts tells me that it might drop a little bit and start pushing up again. Jerome Powell might be a bullish catalyst. The chart does look bullish. Nvidia already made a full recovery, which is kind of funny. So I was saying yesterday that we had like an inverse head and shoulders, right? We had this left shoulder here, we had the head, and we had like a right shoulder, and ultimately, I'm sorry, the right shoulder is like right here. This is the right shoulder, this is the left shoulder, and this whole area is like the head. So I was thinking that this is going to pop a little bit more, come back down, and then start to continue to push. But Nvidia is already testing 877, the all-time high. If we shoot past this, watch 882. We might come down a little bit and start pushing up to 882. And if we break past this, I think we could make our way up to the notorious $900. This thing is an absolute monster. If 882 breaks, I'm going to be watching basically some tight levels like 885. 892 if that breaks, and then after that, then we have 900. But that's still a real possibility. Nvidia could be trying to get all the way up to this 900 area, so it definitely has potential to push higher. The chart is still bullish, and this could help the market track higher. What else could help the markets is Aapl. Aapl is showing signs that it wants to bounce. It's very oversold. We have this big gap above to fill at 174. If we could break past 172, I think it's going to push up for 174. If we lose 170, we turn back to bearish, but so far we're trying to base around here, so it looks like it may try to bounce, which could help the markets to some extent. So let's see if Apple could break 172 to 172.5. If we break this, we're looking for a big push all the way up to 174, and I do believe there is potential for it to do so. So let's see. There's a nice accumulation here, and we'll see if we get this break to the upside, and we'll be watching this gap up here as we approach 175. Apple has potential, guys. We'll see how it does. Jerome Powell might start to help this thing turn, maybe. It's not looking as strong as the others, but we'll see how it goes. And last but not least, we have Tesla. Sorry, I kind of kept Tesla for the end. Tesla's a little bit weak for now. We're barely holding 178, but we'll see if this thing can try to get a bounce. For now, if we're bearish, watch 175 as key support, followed by 172. If we're bullish, you want to see it break 178 and then 180. If it gets past 180, look for a push for 182.5 and then 184. My gut tells me it's kind of weak right now. It might start off a little bit weak, but then we might see it try to retest 180. It might just remain in a range, kind of like get back to 180 and just trade sideways for now. Maybe try to push a little bit. I think the market might help Tesla a little bit, so we'll see how it goes. With that being said, I thank you all so much for listening. I think that Tesla might try to eventually get back to 180, then 182, but it is looking kind of weak compared to the market, so it may not pump as hard, but I could see a little rebound coming if the market does push. So that's what I'm anticipating. All right, anyways, that's it for this one. Have a great day, guys. I'll see you guys very soon on the next one. Thank you for listening. The market to the moon because the long term is very bright, and get ready for Jerome Powell's testimony. It's going to be starting at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. 30 minutes after the market opens. Do what you have to do, guys. Get ready, and I'll see you guys very soon. Thanks again, and peace out.